absolutely. It gets a little bit more relaxed as you get going, but the intro is just crazy. And there's a lot of strong stuff to be picked nowadays, and banned especially. We'll see which picks will get left up by either team.
Yep, we've seen, you know, Varus, Calista be the most banned champions so far, and Bro will just take them away immediately. So no hesitation there. I feel like the ones that are interesting to talk about are Gwen and Neferi, because they're sometimes banned, sometimes left open, often traded around that first pick. We've seen Vi very good into Neferi, so like a Vi ban, and then first pick Neferi can be strong. We've seen Rumble be pretty good, Jace be pretty good into Gwen, so those can end up getting banned, and then the Gwen potentially picked up. So Rumble coming out, this kind of solidifies to me that Brion want to threaten the Gwen. So will BNK ban it? And then if they do, maybe it's just a Neferi pickup for Bro, but then BNK can take Vi in return, which we've seen do well in that matchup. I think that makes sense for me, that sort of trade.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of questions to ask. You know, what do you want to trade in the jungle? Do you want to let Morgan play Gwen? No. The answer is no, with the 2 counters banned away.
But Morgan's fine with that. He has another champion he can play with a bit more scales.
Renekton.
Yeah. So they're actually going to take the Vi. They're not going to take the Neferi. So we've seen, obviously, Neferi, in terms of win rate struggle, definitely convinced to still a strong character. But they're kind of saying to BNK, you can have Neferi. We're picking a jungle that we're comfortable playing into it. And there's a lot of good options in the meta that you can pair with this Vi. You know, the Ahri we saw Chovy play with the Bruiser build. The Aurora's been very popular as well. Talia also being a solid pick. So a lot of mid lane options to go with that. And we'll see if BNK opt in. They do opt into the Neferi. So want to see if they can make it work. I think Bro obviously anticipated this, are happy with the Vi matchup, and then we get to see what comes out here.
Hey, you mentioned Ahri and Talia. You can't take them both away. You could opt into maybe taking the Ahri if you feel worse about that, or maybe you just pick an Ezreal, something that can survive against the Vi a little bit more, or you just go for a top lane pick and pick up the Ambessa.
I think it makes sense because a lot of the top lane picks have been thinned out with the bans. Whoa, shocker. So we get the Renekton coming out from Morgan, and then we get the Talia. I like this particularly with the Ambessa on the other side, because obviously she is a very dash-heavy champion. You can shut that down, but as we said, there were a lot of pairings that were good for this Vi. And now we could just see the Azir come out for Vikla again. I don't think it'd be too questionable. Could also see the Aurora come through. In terms of a mid lane that's got a decent amount of prio. You could look in a different direction, and they opt to go for the AD carry, going for the Ezreal, who obviously, when it comes to AD carry picks, fares better than most against a Vi Talia, has that safety. It does mean the mid lane pool is going to get pinched a little bit, but they have the option to pinch the AD carry pool in return right now. There is a lot of options available. We've seen generally, understandably, because lane swaps have been trimmed out, we've seen teams leaning towards a lot of these high prio, strong early AD carries like Varus, Ashe, MF. They are going to opt to ban the Kai'Sa though, respecting the dive potential that can come through paired with that Vi. And Bro will ban away Vikla's Azir.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. You know, in terms of looking at the majority of the comp that has been crafted for both of these teams, there's the MF. You know, if you go for an Ashe, though, on the side of Bro, you're not feeling too bad either, because that just adds a lot of lane dominance, a lot of ability to engage alongside of what you already have with this pick comp and engage comp. So I like the Ashe pick for hype in this game. They couldn't ban it all on the side of BNK.
Yeah, I think Ashe or even Corki would honestly be fine in this situation. We're going to see the Poppy denied, not winning that in the support role. Obviously can be pretty frustrating to play Vi into. There is still a decent amount of supports available, but I think BNK Fear actually just grab you mid here, have support counter pick, and we'll see what they opt for. I think Aurora is pretty fine here.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty high in terms of the tier list as well from what is left available. Let's see what Vikla wants to play.
I mean, you definitely can't go an AD jungler here. AD mid laner, sorry. That's for sure. They opt to go for the Sylas instead. Well, there's only so many rocks that Talia can put out, the Unraveled Earth. You know, maybe if you tank them, it frees up. Well, I guess they are committing to like quite the melee-focused dive, but I think this is just you know, considering Closer has been the best performing player on Bro, this is a phenomenal Talia game. They do opt to go for the Corki, a pick that has strong early pressure, but also matches those spikes off the Ezreal. And honestly, I think I like it more here than the Ashe because playing into these 3 melee divers on the side of BNK FavorX might have been difficult if you had the Ashe. And Rel just comes in to kind of be that strong engage support option. Now, I feel like you could just go for Kalen Alistair is a really good pick for him.
Yeah.
Instead, opts for the Elise. So, a bit more early pressure in the lane than an Alistair would have. A very volatile pick, though. We've seen this pick snowball and do a lot of work. We've also seen it do the opposite and kind of fall off. So, this feels like BNK FavorX have really opted into kind of a feast or famine composition. You know, we've seen Neferi function in that way. Elise is definitely being picked here to have more of that early pressure compared to an Alistair who's such a stable team fighter. And Bro, I mean, I feel like the comp has great engage options. The Talia has so much value here. The Corki is going to be completely fine. It's Lord Morgan's Renekton. I think BNK FavorX are coming out of this draft and having to do a bit more work.
That's a nice way to say that. We definitely believe that Bro got the better of this draft. I'm with you on that one. I like the Corki angle. I like the way you explain that, and I think it just makes sense. I'm not sure what led BNK to go for all of this risk. I mean, if they get ahead, and they have some ability to do so, at least in the bottom lane with the Elise, you know, maybe Kellen can put on a huge performance. If they can get ahead, they do have a lot of kill pressure.
Look, some people like, you know, me and Mal play a lot of Arena together. Some people like the reserved, sort of take something that consistently places in the top half of the teams. And some people like to just gamble first to 8th every game.
Yeah.
And I think BNK FavorX went for that approach.
They absolutely did. We'll see if they get first or second in this game, number 1. All right, game number 1 of the Saturday Showdown. The first one we've had in a very long time. The last one must have been like last August.
Yeah, it was
right?
definitely, it was a Saturday last year.
Yeah, that's true. I'm glad you caught on to that. When
yeah,
I said
sometimes
last
I wonder,
August.
what day was it? I know it was on a Saturday. I have a feeling. My intuition is helping me out here.
It was probably a Saturday.
Good chance that it was.
But we don't know the exact date. But that's okay. It's been, you know, about 7 or 8 months or so. So it's nice to have it back. It's nice. It feels very comfortable to be back in the LCK.
I also feel like, you know, obviously we've had a range of Saturday Showdowns. Sometimes we've had the T1 Genji, like top of the table ones. But honestly, I love these Saturday Showdowns where it's 2 teams who are maybe struggling a bit towards the bottom of the table because, like, it means so much, right?
Yeah.
Right now, both these teams hunting for a win. You know, T1 and Genji, they get wins all the time, right?
It's losing its, you know, its gravity, its meaning, you know, when you win so much. You're like, another win.
Exactly.
What's
you know, Genji are like, oh, we don't have like 36 straight game wins. We have 35, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, BNK FavorX and Bro definitely fighting for this one. Every win can make a big difference, because especially when you think about the later stages of the format, wanting to get into the top group, which obviously puts you in much better standing when it comes to later stages of the tournament. Also seeding for the MSI qualifier. They absolutely need every win they can get.
Yeah, they definitely do. And just think about how happy they will be, whoever does end up winning here. For Bro, you know,
what a
getting
nice
O2'd.
way to think about it.
Yeah. They get O2'd by Nongshim. It was pretty one-sided as well, so for them to bounce back, it would be really nice. And then on the side of BNK, they got really close against a strong team. It's a way for them to kind of bounce back right away and say, we're going to be a strong team this time around, and kind of make that statement for themselves, for the fans. And so it's very nice to have a Saturday Showdown like this with 2 teams that are relatively close.
Yep. I haven't seen too much happening in the early game. Morgan got a good amount of pressure in the top lane, not too much surprise. Very proficient as champion, also Renekton, just a strong Burley early. We've seen Vikla trying to find some angles, but not having an easy time of it against Closer on this Talia, who can just keep harassing you down. Oh, that's a good buffer.
Nice. Yeah, he's going to get in there. He does take a bunch of damage himself, but you'll notice the mana getting pretty low on Closer. And Vikla on the Silas, the ability to heal up a bit. It does feel like he is getting the better of these trades so far.
Yeah, both junglers looking to clear the scuttle, and then I imagine Closer would definitely appreciate LM moving over, help them shove the wave in so he can get a reset and TP back in. Or maybe he's just going to look for the reset now. Not going to get the help to shove the wave. So Vikla feeling really good about the outcome of that trade. Looks like Closer will wait a little bit and clear out these minions. But no mana now, he definitely has to go back. We saw in the bot lane, understandably, the pressure from having this Elise. And you could see Diablo and Colin have a bit more lane control. You see Alistair actually really struggle so far in the LCK. I think he's 1 win and 4 losses, which is, you know, the champion's still strong. We saw him have a lot of great performances in the LCK Cup, but I think just the introduction of the straight-up laning, level 1 to 3, has made a big difference. You know, if you're playing against, I mean, that's something like an Elise as an Alistair, you're not having a fun time, and you're not really offering anything in those early levels.
Yeah.
So you have like your... the thing is, WQ makes a difference, but you're so behind because the level 1, you kind of need level 3, and you need like a reset before you're really ready to tango.
Yeah, it just feels good. I think this is part of the reason why lane swaps were kind of done the way they were and just taken off entirely. You'll notice that Kellen is just out on the map and roaming. He's level 3. That's kind of the sweet spot for Elise. You have your whole kit, essentially, and you're going to be looking for picks and looking for pressure. He clears out some vision around mid as well to help Vikla put on a bit more of his own. So far, Raptor on the Nefiri just been farming it up. So has Elm. So might just see Elm look for something at level 6.
Yep. See, the big winner of this early game B, Morgan right now, has his ult available and clear. Doesn't have it for another wave, so he's actually in a pretty dangerous position now with his health being that low and with Morgan having his ult. He's actually going to have to reset and has no TP. And he's already down in gold. You can already see a bit of a CS advantage, about 2 waves in favor of Morgan. So the Lord is delivering on his signature pick. Looks like Clear's actually going to stay around, so we'll see if Morgan can find a window to capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Mbessa is very strong, but she does have her counters, especially if Clear gets this far behind. Kellen trying to make something happen, but Palu just hops over the wall. And of course, Diablo at this point with a cull and a tear doesn't really do all too much. So trying to make action is Kellen, but not able to do so. Trying to push them away for these grubs, though.
Oh, so Morgan's taking the window to move up.
Well, Raptor is trying to get over this wall. He will be able to. He got the 1 grub. And even with Morgan moving up, it doesn't look like BNK want to fight. Well, I say that. Diablo does get over the wall. They push Hype away, and now you see that Helm in a little bit of an awkward spot. That was almost a steal on the grub as well, but they do get the 1, and they're just going to back away and not play with their food.
Yeah, don't want to risk it with how low Hype was. I think it was a good move from Morgan. Had that prio, went to look to sort of help secure the fight, but the problem was it was a little late. Raptor was able to get that grub and get out, and he was like, fine, that's all I need, I'm satisfied. And now they've moved that control towards the bot river. The Scuttle Crab picked up by Raptor, so if there was any thoughts of Bro just sneaking the dragon on the back of that play after the next reset, they won't be able to. And I think BNK FearX making good moves, considering the lack of pressure they had in their top lane matchup.
Yeah. Eventually, Mbessa, Clear is going to be looking for those back lines, and he will get some items eventually. So, you know, Renekton a bit of a lane bully. I think, you know, it could have gone better, but the fact that he's behind isn't the end of the world. I think BNK are going to feel very good that Diablo is ahead in the 80 carry matchup, and that's where the majority of that 500 gold lead does go. As in goes Vikla, and Kellen's here as well. There's the knockback, the flash. Very nicely done from Kellen to get the flash of Closer, who now doesn't have it for if Bro are going to try to set something up here in a bit.
Yeah, and Kellen has Hex Flash, so is he really bothered that he doesn't have his flash? I'm not so
happy.
He's happy. He's unlocked Hex Flash. Now Raptor finds a window to sneak in and get this final grub, which is pretty nice. Just dash over the wall.
Imagine if that was old Rel. Yeah. Paula just walks up. He's like, yeah, thanks for the...
Use it and one-shots
Thanks for the leash, yeah.
Lovely.
I'm glad that's out of the game, actually.
And we've ended up in a situation where Morgan is now laning against the Ezreal Elise, which for Bro
Lane swaps?
Isn't too fun, isn't ideal. They are looking for a dive though on Clear.
Yeah, Clear is level 7. He's going to get the ult, but that's onto the Rel. Paulo just going to tank this one up. He does take a lot of damage. LME flashes away, but even with that, and now Vikla is here to clean up as he picks up a kill. And yeah, you got a kill on your Corki, but Vikla picks one up himself. And meanwhile, Morgan not having a fun time. They're also getting the Dragon at the same time. B&K, I think they're totally fine with this.
Yeah, everything working out pretty well for B&K FearX. They clean up the kill on the top side with that big investment from Bro to make that dive happen. Morgan's still getting pressured out bot. They get the Dragon as well. It just feels like all the boxes being ticked right now.
Morgan does get a decent trade, about as good of a trade as you would get in this situation. True Shot Barrage sails wide, but really he's just looking to thin out that wave. And continue to pick up as many plates as possible. He actually didn't get the second plate there, even though it looks like he did on the bottom lane. So let's take a look at this dive here once again.
Yeah, I mean, Clay does a good job of landing the ultimate. I think that's one of the critical things in countering dives as Ambessa. And it does mean that LM has to take those double tower shots, but ultimately it's just Vikla's roam. Really easy cleanup on the Rel, who was already so low. No real threat to come back in return. Yeah, so good start for B&K FearX. Dragon advantage, about 700 gold. And also, you know, the thing we were talking about earlier, the advantage that Diable has over Hype. Even with Hype picking up that kill, still a lead for the Ezreal. Both these champions have very similar build paths to start off with the Triforce and the Manamune. So if you're ahead of the curve, even by a little bit of gold, if that comes in at like a key fight moment, that can be such a difference maker.
Yeah. I mean, especially when your team's ahead and you're Ezreal and you're just able to kind of arcane shift forward. This time he's going to arcane shift back, right as they say that. As both teams mostly just farming it out. Clear looking a lot more confident up against Morgan in this 1v1. He hasn't fallen any further behind and is in fact ahead on gold at the moment. So feeling pretty good about that. We had a lot of Chemtech souls yesterday, especially.
Yeah.
We might get another one here. We'll see what happens with the Mountain Drake on the way.
Honestly, though, you know, we have Chemtech Soul did get buffed, and there's a lot of champions I feel like kind of gel with it pretty well.
13%.
Yeah, it's still not the soul you would choose, but, you know, not the worst scenario for a Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, and you're choosing the Cloud Soul a little bit less often with the slight nerfs that that one got.
Yep.
But Atlas still going to choose that one every time.
You know, you can mitigate some of those nerfs with a Ruinous Atakan, but I don't think we're getting a Ruinous Atakan this game, you know?
Why not?
Just intuition.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
It's 50-50. Either you get a Ruinous or you get a Voracious, so...
That's so true.
I mean, we'll just have to flip a coin and see what happens. Morgan getting a bit baited into the fight, but double dash away. Kellen, no real angle, especially with the wave coming up. I mean, he could have like repelled to the wave and then like really try to force it, but against Renekton with Dominus and Flash, I don't think there's really a good reason to do that. Unless Morgan like fully committed with the second dash on the clear, I don't think you're ever really killing him there.
Yep, Morgan playing it well. Probably can just jump away, but sacrifices control ward to the Neferi.
Yeah. Control ward goes down, and I mean, the control of this top river is pretty heavily in favor of B&K. Vikla, yeah, he's going to get spotted here, but he's level 10. And even the Element Closer together are like, you know what? Never mind. I don't think we can really kill him here, as the rest of the team is right there with them. Hype going to take a chunk. As Palu and the team of Bro, they're desperate to try to get in here. Morgan does have TP. He is going to utilize it. Clear has to go in. The follow-up very slow as they use everything on the Ambessa, though. And they're still not able to take out Clear. He survives until the very end. And down will go Hype as well, as this is going very awry for Bro. It's only Morgan who does get one kill. And Closer trying to help him out with some rocks here on the right side, but he doesn't quite have the damage just yet. Still trying to kite it out, though. The flash forward! There's the kill! making it 2 as Diablo has to get over the wall and run away. Closer making something out of nothing.
You know, we said Closer has been the best player for this Bro lineup, and with this Talia, has so much potential, so much carry potential in this game. I just didn't think it would happen so early. And it's a bit of a mistake here. Polo misses a Q. Then this buffer from Clear, so nice to catch out the Corki and also delay the CC. Just managed to survive. And then you see Raptor dive in, instantly taking out this Corki. But Closer's just free hitting this whole time. You know, all these melee champions funneling in. I mean, I guess mostly it's the Silas. Diablo is able to avoid a good amount of damage, but this Unraveled Earth coming out there, so clutch.
Yeah, I mean, when we looked at the draft on paper, we were like, huh, they're really going to struggle into that Talia. Well, now that Talia has 2 kills and an assist,
yeah,
and is ahead of the Silas, who, you know, Victor was getting good trades early on.
Thing is, Talia was sitting on an Archangel staff, right?
Yeah.
This is not prime Talia time. This is, give me 5-10 minutes. Once Talia gets like full Seraphs and a Leandries, that is when she's going to be absolutely pumping. So the fact that Closer's already had that big impact, got a big influx of gold there as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty worrying for BNK FearX, because, I mean, the Ezreal can handle Talia. Like, Ezreal is good in Talia, but everyone else, you know, you saw Raptor ult in, and he just dove through the Unraveled Earth. He was like, there's no option, there's no alternative. That was slick.
Yeah, they knew. Somehow, they had an inkling. As BNK are going to try to set up for the second Drake. Not fully committing to it just yet, but they're going to send the Nefiri back to that one. The top laner's up here. Teleport advantage to Vikla. So Bro just say, well, we're not able to do much about that Drake. See a big rotation up towards the top lane from the Bro bottom laners, but kind of just wandering around and farming. So it's actually a Cloud Soul that does come out here, and BNK got the first 2 Drakes. So feeling pretty good about those objectives, even though their gold lead at this moment's not gigantic after Closer's play.
Yeah, I think with Kellen there, you probably don't go for this. But
he's level 11 as well. He's going to steal the Rel ultimate. He's like, bring it on. I dare you. Not gonna happen.
You know, I think maybe not fighting the dragon was the right decision. I think not diving that turret, that was absolutely without doubt the right decision. And I'm glad Bro came to that conclusion. Took them a little while, but they got there. They got there. They figured out that no, we shouldn't dive the level 11 Silas with Rel ult with the Elise backup.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can see their thought process. It's like, well, we're losing an objective on the bottom side. Let's try to cross map a little bit. Maybe we can dive, but the whole formation of the play was just so slow.
Yeah, it had to be faster. They had to be there early. You need to be there when they're taking the dragon to the bot side, because then the chances of Kellen being there are lower. But you know, they kind of gave time for BNK FearX to pick up the dragon. And Kellen has these symbiotic souls, so his resets are twice as fast.
Yeah. You could probably hear Edgar just, you know, being not happy, maybe banging the table a little bit, because, you know, it's probably something they practiced in scrims, but seeing it not really come to fruition can be a bit frustrating. And it's not the end of the world by any means, but you can see they're trying to set up for this one. Palu is just gonna go in there as they're on a ward, as everything being thrown into the Nefiri. Down goes Raptor, and down should go Kellen here in just a moment. Once he falls from the sky, there you go. It's a double kill for Closer as well, who has 4 kills in this game. And now what do you do as BNK? You just gotta give up the objective.
Beautiful engage from Palu, and I feel like they've had such a good read on what BNK FearX is trying to do. These traps that have been set, finds this angle to get the double combo, and the follow-up is pristine. That is the sort of play that Edgar would be proud of.
Absolutely. Looks like they were just standing on a ward. We'll have to see exactly, you know, how they made their way into that brush and why they thought they were safe. Maybe no ward, actually. Just
One of them.
There's the ward, and immediately goes in.
Just the zero hesitation. I think that's the critical factor here, because if you take a moment, both Elise and Nefiri have ways to essentially go untargetable. And you could have just whiffed completely. Could have been a very different scenario.
He said, I'm going in, I'm going in.
Yep.
You know, he knew this was happening. He was calling for this play 5 seconds before it happened.
And the backup from the team as well. TP comes in, the Weaver's Wall, everyone's there to follow it up. And It was a big play. It got them the Rift Herald, and then again, as you said, 2 more kills onto Closer, pushing him towards that Leandries. I think once that spike gets hit, he will just, I mean, he already has been, but he will just dominate these fights.
I mean, it definitely will. It's really going to be up to Diablo to try to fight back against that, maybe land a little bit of poke before they go in, because if you're all inning and it's a very even game state, or you're behind against the super fed Taliyah with this comp, you're not going to have a good time. Again, unless you're Ezreal. So the onus is on him to do some of that carrying. BNK does pick up the bot turret, going to even up that score at least.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still even in gold. BNK FairX still have that 2-dragon advantage, and they still have a lead on this Ezreal, who's going to hit that 2-item spike faster. It's not all doom and gloom for them. I am just worried as the game goes on what Closer is capable of doing against all these dive-focused melee champions. So, Dragon in a minute, and I think Bro probably feeling pretty confident after that last fight, but definitely want to shut down this Dragon stacking from BNK FairX, and especially with the fact that Arakan is spawning around a similar time. It is on the other side of the map, but maybe if you get like a complete ace, you can move up to Arakan. Maybe not. Maybe it's just too far away to instantly translate, but yeah, a lot of objectives going to be opening up as a result. Maybe it's a situation when BNK FairX, they lean towards the Arakan and let Bro take the Dragon in return.
Maybe.
Always strategy.
I mean, Closer just went back, picked up his Leandries, and is here right on time for the fight. They also got a double red buff as well, right on time for this fight. So, Bro, doing a good job of preparing for this one.
The only thing I'd say is you look at Diablo, he's got the fully stacked Mirror Mana, whereas Hype does not, and he's a good amount away. So, got to be cautious about that. We also have Vikla, has the fully stacked Rod of Ages. Doesn't have a second item yet, so definitely weaker still than Closer, but I think BNK FairX would be confident taking a fight right now. You also see Claire now on 2 full items completed. So, this Dragon, I think BNK FairX could have been confident in taking this fight, but it looks like they've given up a lot of control of the river. They're instead looking to prioritize this mid-tier 1.
They might just be able to.
No, not against the Corki.
It was a lot of damage.
They're starting to push in and get some vision here. Banana Bush control in favor of Bro right now.
Yeah. Raptor's doing a very good job of farming, actually ahead about 20 CS. He's up a level as well on Elm, so he's in a good spot himself, has a couple of kills. Let's see, this fight is brewing now as this Dragon getting very low, just gonna ult in onto Elm and attempt to take him out. Palu trying to disengage ult, but now the backline of Bro is just wide open as Elm goes down essentially for free. There's the Dragon of BNK as well, but now in comes Closer. He wants the revenge. He will be able to take out Raptor alongside of Hype, as now Hype gets another kill here, picks up the Ezreal, a nice shutdown for him. So yeah, BNK, they got the Dragon, but in a messy fight, some cleanup was good there for Bro.
Absolutely. So BNK FairX, the objective secured, but they're going to take a big hit for this. There should be 2 towers going down in return. I think they can get this one. Care for... Oh. Who has to care here is the question. I think Vikla does. Yeah, should get this one. Bot one already went down. So, yeah, you're 1 away from Soul now, which is big for BNK FairX, but at the cost of almost a 3,000 gold lead now in favor of Bro. That spike we were talking about, the Ezreal advantage over the Corki. Corki's going to finish his mana immune by the next time they want to fight. That'll be stacked up. When we see the fight, I think Closer's positioning ended up a bit suspect. They denied LM initially and focused, it was Vikla focusing on Closer. But him having Flash was such a difference maker, and his jungler coming to peel. And then this ult back in, just able to finish off the Fairy, and then Hype going for that final pickup onto Diablo. It just felt like, you know, I don't think the split focus was bad, because clearly the intent was like, okay, if one of us goes on to LM, it gives Vikla free access to Closer, but Closer having the flash over the wall was such a difference maker, and LM kind of playing that hero role to save his mid laner went a long way.
Yeah, especially after they got that deep, the punish capability of Bro's comp was right there.
I think that's the thing, is like you don't really have alternative options with BNK FairX's composition. You are diving in, you know? You either succeed or you don't, but it's like you can't really change the game plan with these champions that you have.
Yeah, once they picked the Sylas, it was pretty much, I mean, even when they had the Ambest and the Fury, it's like, well...
Oh, he's not hitting the plan.
Raptor is going to go untargetable, but guess who is not quite able to do so on time? It is Kellen, who is going to try to flash away, but that's a free kill. As a bit of damage is traded back, we got a TP as well. As Clear is behind them, looking for the angle right now, just going to send himself in there into the front line, but this is a 4v5 for BNK as down will go Clear. Doesn't really do much of anything, and now Bro get a couple of kills and are looking at the Otacon.
Yeah, health bar's a little bit low, but it looks like Raptor's recalling. Not sure if they're going to contest this. Dabble is just going to go mid. Yep, so this will be given over to the side of Bro. Claire, once again, with beautiful buffer on the ultimate, but it just doesn't really matter. You're diving into this team who has so many tools to deal with you. And now we're seeing not just the fact that Close has been fed for a good amount of time, but Hype overtaking Dabble in gold. And it is actually the Ruinous Otacon, crazily enough.
Yeah. I mean, the beginning was very slow, but we amped it up quickly.
Yeah, so
Kellen got caught here.
I mean, you're so squishy on the Elise, is able to buy time, but Morgan finishes. And then this flank that comes in, like again, Clay gets ulted by Vi. The buffer is really nice to completely negate the CC and even finds the Corki. But you're playing into Talia Rel, who just don't let you play the game. You know, if you're playing into a different composition, I think that flank works, and you also hype up Claire for making a beautiful buffer and find the right target. But the fact is, some champions just don't let you play the game if you want to dash.
Yeah.
And that is Talia.
Well, we are going to see a Cocoon lands here. Morgan in a lot of trouble. Doesn't matter what champ he's playing. 3 guys going to bully him down on the bottom lane. So they get the 1 guy.
Yep. It was a big shutdown as well.
Yeah.
Good amount of gold on a Raptor. Don't think he'll give him an item threshold before that dragon fight, though, is the only thing. But that being said, BNK FairX, I mean, they don't need to fight this next dragon because, again, they have 3 in the bag. But I don't think time is going to favor them in this game, especially as I look at Close's infantry.
He almost has a death cap.
Yeah.
What's going on? This is like the most fed and fun Talia game of all time.
This is sort of...
Well, Palu just kind of walking around here. He will be okay.
Wait, you know what it is? You know when you play ARAM and you're obviously given a random champion? You're like, oh yeah, hopefully Talia will be good this game. Then you see this on the enemy composition, you're like, oh my god, what a high roll.
Yeah.
How blessed am I? That's what it feels like right
Except
now.
in Summoner's Rift in the LCK, you're not given a random champion, Ox.
Yes.
Actually, you select the champions that you're given.
Yes, they chose to play these into Talia. Well, I will say, 15 seconds on the Dragon. Rapid Fire Cannon not finished for Hype. Rabadon's not finished for Closer. So yes, there's a big goal lead, but those partial item finishes don't amount for as much. So I think if BNK FairX want to take this fight, this is a better opportunity than they may get later, even though they are at a deficit.
Well, they're going to start it up. I mean, certainly Diablo's doing a lot of damage. It's now Morgan going to be caught here once again, but look at the follow-up here from the side of Bro, as now maybe they were locked in with Bro, as now down will go Clear, as they're looking to turn this one with the Vi ultimate onto Palu, but that is a Rel. He's just tanking up all the damage. They can't even kill him by the end of it all. Finally, the flash ult comes in from Raptor, as this Nefiri is quite scary. I'm not sure if BNK can actually fight this, though, without Vikla, who is just going to back. It doesn't look like he's going to TP back into this fight. So, yeah, BNK, they just say, well, that fight got a little bit awkward. We're just going to have to back off that one.
Yeah, I think ultimately a little bit overforced. You can see what the thought process was there. They were trying to take out, well, here, I kind of questioned the thought process. Close able to move in and take out the Ambessa. But here, the logic was clearly, hey, if we kill Palu quickly, Raptor can get a reset and get on the Corki. Palu does a great job of mitigating damage. Aftershock, slashed opposition coming in clutch here. The ult comes in, but then Raptor hesitant to follow Hype over the wall. It's like we've just used all our tools to kill their support. We don't have a top laner, our mid lane is backing off, and as a result, they kind of have to give it up. And now, Hype has finished his Rapid Fire Cannon, and Closer, before the next fight, will have finished his Rabadons. That window I was talking about of the lack of item completion, it's gone.
Yeah. The window is shut. It was locked. There's also bars on the window.
Yeah.
And also a nice hat hanging on those bars, as there is the Rabadon's death cap there for Closer. Well, one of them is slightly broken. It's got like a little piece of iron hanging off of it, and you can just hang it on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or maybe they built a hook into one of the bars, you know? Nice little coat hanger or hat hanger.
That was really thoughtful of them when they were building the window, putting the bars on.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. You can always use more space to hang stuff.
Yeah. Then again, if kind of there's bars on the window, presumably they're like trying to keep them inside. And it's like, why do you need a hat?
Or outside.
Or outside, yeah.
Yeah. As for Bro, that's their case. They got the bars on the window so that people can't, you know, can't get in.
True. And by bars, you mean
Talia.
They raveled it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
exactly.
Now we do see third item for Diablo as well. Diablo's still strong. I think that's kind of the thing, and Raptor's powerful. But I think the less structured these fights are, the more split it becomes. I think that's where BNK Fearx has an angle. And I think they were trying to look for that last time. It just didn't really happen. But if you find someone isolated,
yeah,
that is the window.
Even closer. Like, if he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time, like, he does have a Seraphs. But, you know, imagine that landed. maybe you get something off of that.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but that's the kind of play you have to go for if you're going to go all in on Atalia, right? You have to stun lock her 100-0.
Yeah, I think it's... oh, TP flank has come in from Clear. We've seen this play before.
We're trying to turn this one on to Vikla, who does have the rel ult. It's not going to help him out at all, as down he goes, and...
oh no, Clear left the brush. He should have stayed there. It's just recalled.
Yeah, he's... Now he's running. He's going to buy a little bit of time before they do the Baron.
You know,
he's dead.
I didn't think he'd win that, and then I was right, so... A little bit rough. Definitely feels like at this point, BNK Fearx are trying, and it's a little bit up Struggle Street.
Yeah. Again, it's not over, but if this Baron goes for free...
Imagine if that Cocoon had hit.
Yeah, well, here comes Palu. It's a lot of damage from Diablo, but they just go all in on him. The stun for Morgan is enough, and then Fury does kill the Renekton, but that is not enough, as now the rest of Bro will eventually just take out Kellen, and down will go this Baron. And yeah, it was a broken up fight, but actually it was Bro who stuck together and picked away at BNK one by one. So now just going to TP in to take the Krugs, I guess. Or just kind of look at them running away with the Baron, I guess.
It was just I was going to make some sort of like, some quippy comment there, but I have nothing. I don't even know. This felt a little bit desperate from BNK Fearx, which they're in a desperate position, but they kind of just one-shot Vikla, doesn't get to play the game, and then Clear's like, oh god, why did I leave the house? Why did I try and bend the bars to break out?
Yeah.
I was safer inside.
Exactly. This as well, I mean, Diablo's the one guy.
You know, I don't know, not everyone may know this, but Chronicler actually has a law degree, and I think he's going to need to put it to work today on a space, because the Neferi legal defense team needs to be here, because we're trying to see another Neferi loss. It is not looking good for the Dog Champion.
But if this were solo queue, he'd be sitting there with 6 kills, calling his team a bunch of bad names. So, is it really Neferi's fault?
I don't think it's Neferi's fault, but I need Chronicler to make the case for this. Okay, put the defense, put the law degree to work.
Yeah.
You know? I need you to defend Neferi because it's oh.
Well,
that one did hit.
That Cocoon did hit. We don't have to imagine, but it just sets BNK up for disaster as now the flank comes in, but it's just a couple of them going down. Raptor's in the backline, but even he can't get a kill as there is no defense for Neferi this time around. Diablo alone, and just Arcane shifting kind of sadly backwards as Bro, they group up in mid, and with the Baron buff especially, this should be the end.
Okay, well, you know, we learned some things from this game. Melee champions, dash champions, struggle into Talia. New information we've obtained for this game. And closer is pretty good. So they will close this one out pretty decisively. And Bro, now going to be 1 game away from breaking that massive streak.
There you go. Game number 1 in the bag. The Nexus falls. And closer.
He's smiling.
He's looking pretty happy.
He had a great time. Probably saying, wow, that was so easy to play Talia there.
He was almost in disbelief. He's like, what was that? Why did they do that? But, I mean, jokes aside, we could talk about the draft all we want. I think he played very well. He got through the lane. He was able to get that one big team fight and get himself fed. And then, after that, Bro just played really well as a team. You know, the teamwork was there. All 5 of them stuck together. BNK were like 5 different people running around.
I think the thing is, if they'd been less coordinated, we easily could have seen them fall apart. There's a lot of, you know, pick potential, die potential on this comp, and the reason Bro did so well was they isolated those threats and just everyone dogpiled them.
Yeah.
And yeah, unsurprisingly, Closer did a lot of damage, but you know, so many windows, like in that final fight where Clay had threatened the TP flank, and they just jumped on Vikla immediately, all 5 of them. It felt like so many situations were like 5v2, 5v1, 3v1 from Bro because they were just using their numbers better.
Yeah, well, I said the BNK draft was a big risk. It did not pay off this time, and the Giga Chads, the Bros, will be on top after game number 1. We're going to take a break and have the space to break that one down. We'll be right back.
고고고고. 맞다 사실 생각할게. 맞아. 야 빨리 좀 봐봐. 빨리 중요하다 얘들아. 내가 공 뺏겼고. 더. 세개 하자. 이거 안 빼다 상대방 미래는 기다리면 돼. 야 맞아. 봐줄래. 아무나. 좋아. 암라. 나필이 맞아. 들어온 거 봐줘. 네, 이지들 못해. 바텀 나이스. 끝났다 이거. 미드 본.
Oh, that was a struggle. They didn't manage to deal with Closer, didn't manage to deal with Talia, but you know, we kind of came out of the draft thinking it was an uphill battle, and there were still, despite that, moments where they actually did some good things. You know, was it a good game? No, it was obviously better for Bro, but I think with a better draft, there is hope. So we'll see what they're able to pull out in this one. This time they are on blue side.
They don't have to deal with Talia this time, so that's a bonus.
Yep.
Kalista going to be banned here on red side by Bro. They banned Varus and Kalista on the blue side in the last game.
They might just do that again. It does potentially leave up... They're actually banning the Gwen. Quick to ban that one out. Aurora being denied from Closer, I think, is pretty big. He has had a monstrous performance on that in the LCK Cup. So I think that is a good denial ban there. Jace still open. Rumble still open. But those two, I think, banning those was kind of a little bit about, you know, well, I think the Rumble ban was kind of forcing the Gwen ban. Maybe we could see the priority on the Jace coming out here, especially since Morgan can't just pick his connected into it. Actually, a Varus ban from BNK FearX, so no pressure for Bro to ban that one necessarily. Do we see the Jace ban come out? Going for the Azir, denying that from Vikla.
Well, a lot of top laners left up, as you mentioned, specifically Jace and Rumble. Would not be surprised to see Clear pick up the Rumble. Knowing him and the fact that he has had a lot of success on that in the past. But let's see what they opt to go into eventually. Will it be the Rumble?
Yep, I think it makes sense. Do we see Morgan take the Jace in response to that? Or will he go in a different direction? Will he wait a little bit of time? That is the question. I feel like the Prio kind of thinned out a decent amount with the top lane. But those two kind of stand above as like the big picks left open and available. So gonna see the Ahri come through. You know, we talked about how like the Talia, the Aurora, the Ahri, all big picks for Closer. The Ahri, the one that is left right now, and we've seen that Bruiser Ahri build really rise in popularity. They won't bother picking up a top laner yet to respond. They'll immediately go for the Xin Zhao. You know, Vi and Neferi are the only top junglers who have higher priority than the Xin Zhao right now, but he has been having a lot more success so far in the LCK. Does make me wonder what the response will be from BNK FearX. I feel like you wouldn't really... Skarn has been struggling, and I don't think you'd really want Skarn in this situation. Can't really go an AP jungler. They actually go for the Ryze. And they go for the Wukong as well, which I think makes sense. You definitely need an AD jungler with double AP solo lanes. And the Jace does eventually come out to no real surprise.
Yeah, the Ryze priority, pretty interesting. Looks like he does want to match that into the Ahri as soon as possible. I think it feels like with that new Ahri build and the fact that Xin Zhao's having so much success, that mid-jungle duo should feel pretty good for Bro, I'd say.
Pretty intimidating. I mean, the Ahri at least does have, the Ryze at least can like root the Ahri consistently, which is pretty effective, although she probably will be bulky enough just to shake it off. But you have, the global pressure. Something we was talking about on the desk was the global pressure Talia kept catching out BNK FearX. They are the ones who now have that with the Ryze in return. As we go to the second phase of bans, start to see 80 carries targeted, Ashe taken away by Bro. MF is still available, which is a pretty big one. Poppy going to be denied, so looking towards those supports. I think it makes sense if Bro are banning 80 carries, you don't want to ban 80 carries as well, since Bro has first choice. But trying to trim away some of those support picks that they're worried about facing into.
Yeah, it was banned by Bro on blue. And they ended up picking Rel, so it ended up being a very high-value ban. I do wonder what Kellen is going to play this time around. He's definitely a guy that does like to play enchanters. We saw him play even Elise, which is ranged, but Poppy doesn't necessarily give too much issues to those kind of champs. But we'll see what he does end up with, because I could not have predicted the Elise in Game 1, that's for sure. MF does get banned here, and there is the Kai'Sa. So they do actually ban an 80 carry at the end of their bans.
I'm not sure about the Kai'Sa ban, because I feel like with these prior 80 carries banned away, like Kai'Sa kind of does make sense, but if you pick like Kai'Sa plus an engaged support into BNK FearX, there's always a risk that Kellen would just slam Renata and you'd have a horrible time. That's the thing with picking Kai'Sa, is you're locked into an engaged support. They will opt to go for the Rakan first though, not picking up the 80 carry. Xayah will be picked up as a denial from that Xayah-Rakan duo. And then presumably you're just picking maybe like a Leona in this situation. Alistair coming out instead. And now for Bro, 80 carry pick. And they will go for the Zeri, which I think they're pretty happy with this situation.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of tools to punish the Zeri, a lot of CC threats on the side of BNK FearX, but I do remember this sort of Zeri-Ahri duo. Closer was the Ahri when last year when they were playing this a lot. They had a Vi paired up with it as well. But the team fighting prowess, that mobility, like you think of the bot side of Brion's composition, they kind of just fly in, dashing over walls, looking to join a fight. Whereas I feel like for BNK FearX, a lot more relying on the Realm Warp to find those fights. But I think ultimately a much more even draft than last game, which was a low bar. But I think
true.
Both teams have a lot of team fighting power. I don't think either side has like massive glaring lane discrepancies, and you're not playing 3 melee champs into Talia.
That says French fam fighting?
Yeah.
Hashtag bros forever. He traveled 8,962 kilometers for this. And also some French.
He traveled that far? If he's willing to travel that far, everyone in chat must be willing to pay the bro tax, you know?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's only
right now.
Right now.
You have to.
Don't think because they're 1-0 up, you can slack. It's not how it goes.
This is when they need your support the most to keep the ball rolling. As we see all the cool skins getting ready to hop onto the Rift here for game number 2. BNK FearX up against OK Savings Bank Brianna. Let's do it. Well, here we go, game number 2 on the cards here. The Xayah, we haven't necessarily been huge fans of in general over the course of this year. I think the denial away from Xayah-Rakan is fine. I also think, you know, there's a decent amount of engage on the side of Bro, but you're also dealing with Ari Charms, Zeri Zaps over walls, Extendo Beams. You've got Jace on the other team as well. So it's not like you're playing into a Ziggs. It's not that bad, but there's also some issues, I think. And now Vicla's just going to flash.
Wow.
At level 1.
That's not a good start.
And Rise.
Yeah, so my opinions on the whole Xayah situation. Diablo has gone Ghost, because one of the things you can struggle with is getting out range and wanting to close the distance. But I feel like with the Xayah Rakan duo, everyone who's playing back then remembers the Xayah Rakan like combo when it first came out, how broken it was, how you could just both go W level 1, run at them and just win on autos. Like, yes, Xayah Rakan still has synergy and there's still value to having them together, but I just think we're a long way away from it being like you have to deny Xayah Rakan. And the problem with the Xayah in this situation is playing into Jace isn't fun. It's obviously going to be that more damage-heavy Jace compared to the tank Jace we saw in the LCK Cup. Playing into Ari as well, like if close-up throws out a charm and you have to ult the charm, it just doesn't feel good. So I feel like the counterpoint is that Xayah would have been pretty good to Wukong if Hype had gotten it, but I think he's really fine on the Zeri. And having a good time in lane, we're kind of seeing some of the pains of Alistar. Obviously, Kellen very comfortable in this champion, but not having as much fun since lane swaps were choked out.
Yeah. I think with the Rakan coming out, at least he can say, well, I don't have to deal with, you know, some kind of crazy counter pick on the bottom side. Rakan obviously still going to be the winner of that, at least in the lane, but it's something that Alistar can deal with, so should be just fine. On the side of BNK, I mean, you do have some decent engage options. You know, just thinking about the Rumble first pick that they went for, you've got Alistar engage, you've got Rise to get everybody in on the team fight at the same time, which is something that BNK really struggled with in Game 1.
Yeah.
So honestly, that'll help there.
Rumble Wukong, and I actually think, the more I think about it, I like the Rakan pick rather than the counter pick, because if you had Rakan with Wukong with Rumble, that is so scary to play into. Alistar's still a good engager, but, you know, you can't just dash to the Wukong and follow up layer the CC quite as easily.
Unless you're Delight somehow. Oh, nice little charm here from Closer. He does have to flash just to make 100% sure that he survives that. Wanted to get out of range of Vikla. As now it'll engage here from Kellen. He ends up taking more damage than he did. But asserting his dominance over the lane, he says, I'm level 3 now. You're not able to bully me as much.
Yeah. You see Raptor very proactive in this early game. Obviously that gank made, but then coming down and applying some pressure towards the bot lane. And for a moment, both the jungle and mid matchup on the scoreboard was 0 gold between them.
Yeah.
Now it's just a jungle. But that was like such a precise moment in time, you know?
I mean, it makes sense.
Jungle still is there. It's just, it's so weird to see. So unique.
I mean, they're getting the same amount
zero,
of gold.
It's a 0. Oh.
They're getting the same amount of gold, the same amount of camps at around the same times. The mid lane being exactly even is a lot more
unorthodox.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not anymore. Okay,
21 ahead.
We can stop focusing on it. Okay, it's changed.
It's changed forever. Bro, if they come off of like a 2-0 win here, would actually be pretty huge for them.
Yeah.
Especially because they got 0-2'd. BNK, you know, they got the 1 win against DK, but, you know, a win's a win, but a 2-0 win really going to help when it comes down to like tiebreakers, which it always often feels like when a team is struggling to just barely get in the playoffs, which for both of these teams, I think should be the expected position.
I think it's weird to talk about tiebreakers now, but
sorry,
they're looking for. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
I'm sorry I talked about it. Yeah, Vikla doesn't have flash, so I think eventually, bro, we're just gonna say, yeah, we'll just take him down, and yeah, he's about to get his flash, but the timing was perfect.
Yeah, actually, you know, I love this. This is probably my favorite thing when teams burn a summoner and then like pixel perfect just before it's about to come up. Like literally, you can see the little line just about to tick there, and they manage to punish and capitalize. Really shows good coordination, good tracking of those summoners, and Vikla's earlier mistake ends up being punished and given a kill over the closer. Not what you want to do. And to finish what I was saying earlier, it is a bit weird to talk about tiebreakers now, but often, you know,
Sorry, I offended you.
we gotta replay. I'll have to put it down now. You know. Yeah, good flash from Elm, and that's the thing. You don't go for this play like just flashing immediately unless you're confident he doesn't have the summoner, which means the timing was just absolutely perfect. Yeah. It's a bit weird to talk about.
It is, yeah.
But,
I know.
But the point I'm making is when we get to the end of the split, it always comes down to it. We're talking about like teams
Exactly.
that, you know, if they won this game, if they win that game, if they just won one more game, if the game scores a bit higher, that would have made the difference. So, you know, there may be a situation where Bro getting a 2-0 here, way down the line, to like that made a difference.
Yeah.
You know, that was big.
I mean, we've had so many tiebreakers or near tiebreakers where a team gets in just barely.
Yeah.
So every win matters.
It is still
every
big to bring
game.
it up. But, you know.
That's just me. I bring
Somewhat
up weird
valid.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
An early Ocean Drake here for Bro.
Not so weird. That extra sustain, pretty nice in lanes, you know. And speaking of sustain, this is one of the reasons this Bruiser Ari has been so obnoxious, other than the fact that she just becomes super tanky and hard to deal with mid game. But the Catalyst, clearly, just you can trade so heavily in, you know, you essentially is getting free HP back. The fact that Vikla obviously would go towards a Catalyst himself, but the fact he doesn't have it because he has to pick up tier and he didn't get that kill, well, he got killed by Closer, just means that even if you have a good trade like that, in the longer extended trading in the lane, you are just going to end up losing out because Closer just gets free HP back. Especially because Ari does that with her kit as well.
Yeah. Not to mention when you're rushing her out of ages, it comes online at the exact right time. It always feels like, where it's like around 22 minutes, 25 minutes, around that time where you're having these big team fights where that extra level, that extra little bit of power from all the stacks is really going to push you over the edge, right when you're hitting your second item spike as well. So it's just it feels nice as well when you're lining everything up like that. So your laning phase is pretty free. You're scaling, and you eventually become a powerhouse. And we're kind of scaling in this game. We did have the 1 kill, and now Raptor on a ward. It's going to go in there with the ult on Elam, who does throw out his own, but in the 1v1 and with Vikla coming over as well, that is enough. That's the power of the Rise to just essentially teleport into the fight.
Yep.
Say, I'm here.
Very well, and also, you know, we saw LM burn his flash to punish Vikla. This is the counter punch. Flash not being available means they can target as Xin Zhao. And also, LM, I think, made a mistake there because he ulted, but he'd already applied the challenge status to the Wukong, so he didn't actually knock him away. Do I think that would have saved him? No. Maybe you burn Raptor's flash to get back onto you. Maybe
Vikla just goes in and roots you anyway and doesn't have to flash.
You know, I think definitely could have played a bit differently and maybe increased the odds. Oh.
That's going to pressure Altier's hype.
Yeah.
Zoning ult.
Zoning ult. I think that's what we established it. Didn't really do that much.
He at least hit him.
Yeah?
You know, that's helpful.
That's true.
This is Rakan. I think Paulo eventually just hops over to Ellen and will be just fine. And they finally find that ward, by the way. Ellen's like, there's definitely something in here.
Yeah, did force him away though. And you can see BNK Fearex kind of just secure control of this river. Do get the Scuttle Crab and Grubs up in about 50. The fact they already have those first 3, and they get 6, that can be pretty huge, especially given that you have this Rise, you can be a prominent threat in the side lanes. And he now has his Catalyst.
Yeah.
Closer already has the Rod, but sometimes, right? I mean, I don't think this is necessarily going to be a thing here, but sometimes you have this situation where you get the Rod so early, it gives you like a lower level up.
Yeah, from 11 to 12 or something, you're like, oh, that feels bad.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Vikla's he's just investing, right? He's going to get like level 15 to 16, will feel really good.
It's about timing when you're investing, you know?
Exactly.
You don't want the little jump. You want to get in like right before the huge spike.
Exactly. Buy high, sell low. That's what it's all about, right? Wait.
Yeah.
Is that this?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
For you, at least.
What do you mean for
common.
me?
Common situation. Vikla, yeah, I mean, he had to get his tier first, and of course he didn't get the kill, so it's delayed. He also got boots. But it does mean that his power right now is significantly less. So in terms of fights right now, BNK going to be happy they got the first 3 grubs at least. might be able to smite one away. Actually, just an early smite, and Raptor is able to secure it. LM just didn't smite. So they get 4. And as BNK, you don't really want to fight at this point in time, even though Ari was bought, you know. Closer could have bought, TP'd in or something. Well, I say that, now they're actually collapsing once again. And here comes Palu. He's in a bit of trouble. Look at the turn it, though. There's the TP I was talking about, and Diablo doesn't have his. As Raptor very deep in enemy territory. Kellen's just going to ult, but at the end of the day, bro, they still get that last grub, and Raptor is still on the run.
He's wrapping around.
He indeed
oh,
is.
yeah, it's Zeri.
Yeah, well, release state diff.
The ult necessary?
Oh, it was flashy.
Well, it wasn't because he didn't use his flash, but, you know.
Well, it was a flash of light when he pressed it. It's different.
Okay. Anyway, so LM ends up smiting the second grub, which I thought maybe would have ended up being punished here, but they kind of commit to trying to kill the Xin Zhao. The ult from LM here disengages players pretty nice, and then BNK Firax are like, you know what? We didn't really want to fight anyway, and Raptor's like, just running. We get a little slide over. Yeah, it was a nice W from Hype. I think wasn't sure necessarily if it'd connect, because I think once the W is connecting, you definitely didn't need an ult, but it's fine. More value than the last ult, I think we'll say.
Yeah, that's true. Did a lot more damage. But at the end of the day, just the 1 kill. But it's on the Zeri, and that can turn into a bit of an issue. We have seen Zeri's take over games, and yes, Xayah can scale a bit herself, but Zeri's kind of on a different plane as a hyper carry. Also,
which plane? Where's she going?
Japan.
Oh.
Yeah. I heard you recently visited there.
Yeah.
Actually, on a recent episode of the Pog State, which I was watching.
Yes, I mentioned that there on the Pog State.
Yeah.
And also,
it's a great podcast.
You know why Chronicle wasn't on the Pog State? Because he was in Japan.
Yeah.
At that time.
I thought he didn't want to do it with you.
Well, that was it. But he actually traveled to Japan as an excuse.
That makes sense. It was very well timed. Just perfectly avoiding Pog State filming. Palu takes a bit of damage. He also baits out the ghost.
Yeah, does now have the celestial opposition. So next time they do that trade, we'll celestially oppose it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But Dragon is going to go over to BNK Firax, and feels like they're doing a good job of keeping the pressure up in this game. Kellen on his signature Alistair, trying to find windows just to threaten, and now looking for a dive here on a Morgan. Oh no.
And Morgan has his flash, but Kellen could easily just follow flash, so Morgan gonna flash anyway as he figures out, oh, there's 4 people here. I guess I'm just dead.
Yeah, I mean, he was really dead, and then he flashed, and he was still really dead.
Yeah. I thought, you know, maybe if you flash the headbutt,
yeah,
and maybe at least you get Kellen to follow flash, and the rest of the team is like kind of far away. Maybe they just let him go, but instead he flashed under turret and died anyway. So.
Yeah, and also can't flash a Rise route.
Yeah.
Tried, failed, but maybe thinking I have a Spirit Sojourn, I'm pretty tanky. They can't just, they can. They really can.
Yeah.
You know, nice try. And now 1,000 gold lead for BNK Firax. Did pick up that tower, so 1 objective or 1 kill, and they will have the feats of strength. And there's a Chemtech stall.
Yeah.
Of course.
I didn't want to mention it, but you just had to go ahead and do that. I mean, there are a bunch of like shielding and healing abilities. They're just not game-changing, really, so the difference isn't going to be huge on those individual Chemtech Drakes.
Yeah. You know, the added durability when you're low, pretty nice for bulkier champions, and we are going to have like a couple of AP bruisers in the Ahri and the Rise. It does feel weird calling Ahri an AP bruiser, but that's just the way of the world now.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Things have really changed.
It's just, it's kind of insane how many champions have had come into the meta just because the tech has been build tankier, you know? When Jace first came in, it was tank Jace, and even now he's like a more bruiser Jace. Ahri's showing up really well because it's like, let's just build bruise items on Ahri. What does it say about the game?
I think being tanky in general is good, especially when the game state is even. and tank items are very strong.
Yes.
And
also they removed Cut Down and Giant Slayer from LDR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of ways that are used to take down tanks, they're taken out of the game. It's going to make tanks better. And it doesn't have to be the tanks that are like normally building tanks like
that's so insightful.
Scion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Why be a full tank when you can be tanky and do damage?
Yeah. Like Grasp Azir. Thankfully, Electrocute is so strong that Closer doesn't have to go for Grasp. That wouldn't really make too much sense. As now, B&K, they want to fight over this Rift Heralds. They'd love to get this objective. Here comes the TP from both sides. The Ahri TP very far away. As now Clear is just kind of waiting for him. Closer, though, is Ahri, gets the Featherstorm, and now the front line is just burning to a crisp, and this is where the Ahri and the Zeri really shine as they chase down that back line. Nobody can get away. Clear at least able to get the 1 kill on the Zeri, but the rest of the team is just gone. As there you go, bro. They're going to clean up this fight, and now they'll take that objective.
I think the game plan from B&K FairX was, oh, this is a deep TP. It's an Ahri. We can punish. It's tank Ahri, and also it's an Ahri. So, not the easiest target to capitalize on. You see here, Clear's like, oh, Ahri's here. Everyone back up. We can punish. And then Closer presses R, forces the ult from Diablo. And look how quickly Raptor goes down in the middle of this melee. Diablo's trying to kill Hype, but just gets burned down by Closer. And then Clear as well. Takes down the Zeri. But the Ahri is just decimating you, and the rest of the fight, you have the dive buddies coming through. I think B&K FairX got really distracted by that TP. And it kind of funneled into a spot where Closer just got insane value.
Okay, that was very close. Raptor with the early smite means that LM gets to give him the thumbs up. It was a double thumbs up even.
Wow.
But, I mean, that was rough. That looked like almost like a comms shutdown. Like everybody is screaming at the same time. They're like, where do we go? And then they just kind of get caught in transition. Whereas, bro, everybody played together.
I think if it was like a Jace there, that play works. Claps on the Jace to kill them. But I think, like, you have to think about who is going to come out on the other end of that TP. And it was Closer.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're just so tunnel visioned on fighting over the objective as well that they're very much getting very close to the rest of Bro.
Yeah.
And it just ends up they're the ones being engaged on, such as Raptor. Morgan gonna find him in the jungle. Raptor doesn't really care.
Yeah, maybe if the Shock Blast had hit, maybe you would have cared a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we do have the 2-item spike coming in from Closer with that Leandri's finished. So he's doing a good amount of damage while also having a health bar that kind of looks disgusting on that pick. And once again, he has the biggest gold lead on Bro.
Closer's just...
he's that guy.
He is that guy. Kind of just turns into an animal.
It's that 1,300 gold lead. You know what that is? That's your bro tax being put to work.
Yeah. He's collecting all the coins from the Twitch chat. That's going to be Morgan just dying. Meanwhile, we got a 1v1 up here, but Closer is extremely strong. The charm is going to miss, but still the damage is there. The flash and the auto is enough. The flash on the return of the orb was so clean for Closer. And now he's 2 levels up on his laning opponent.
Yep, also gets the feats of strength from that. Really nicely played by Closer, and that is a worrying position to be in for the side of B&K FairX. You have this rise. One of the selling points of this pick was the fact that you can be functional in the side lane. Apparently not anymore.
Yeah. Well, at least they killed Morgan. Morgan's like, I can fight this.
This was very generous from Lord Morgan, He felt like maybe B&K FairX, it's a Saturday showdown, maybe they were losing a little bit of hope. He's like, here you go, here's 377 gold.
They want to make it look like a showdown and not like a beatdown.
Yeah. This moment, so Vickler's trying to go back and forth to dodge the bait out of the charm. Don't dodge it, but yeah, the return on the Q, and Kellen
with the engage here that is on to Closer, and he doesn't have the Spirit Rush. So there you go. They finally get the shutdown. It goes over to Raptor.
Yeah, so
one
thing with this Ahri build, we've typically seen Ahri builds where they're building like Malignance and they have a lot of ability haste and a lot of ultimate ability haste. You don't have that so much with this build. And this was on Bro. They set it up. They knew they didn't have the ult on Ari, and they still trying to make a play. It was a great turnaround by Kellen there, honestly, to catch out Closer, who they knew didn't have flash or ult. So, you know, we talked about Morgan being generous. Closer is too.
I mean, he was level 15, running at a level 8 Alistair with his team. So he was like, I am so strong right now, I can do whatever I want. And unfortunately, that's the kind of thinking that gets you killed.
Yep.
You know, anybody who's played solo queue and has been fed at some point, which is, you know, probably most of our Twitch chat.
Our Twitch chat gets fed all the time.
At some point,
no,
right?
Our Twitch chat gets fed all the time. They're carrying their games. I'm pretty sure everyone in a Twitch chat.
Okay.
I think, okay, not to sound critical, but I think there is a couple of Grandmasters. Everyone else is challenging. Like in our Twitch chat. I think that's an absolute fact.
That's why they speak so confidently about everything.
I mean, a lot of them are Bro fans, and I don't think there's a single Bro fan who isn't Challenger.
I mean, you have to be extremely high level to understand Bro's level. As that is a massive engage from B&K. Raptor finally finds the angle, and maybe some of that fedness is going to good work. They're going to take down Closer as well. It's a 2-for-0. They just find them in the river, as that confidence that Bro is walking with is just kind of the death of them.
Yeah, you see, Brendan, I'm not Challenger, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that because I'm not Challenger. Bro
Twitch
kind of
gets it.
Twitch chat gets it. They understand what Bro was going for there. But B&K VRX, they find a massive engage, and we were talking about how this massive lead was in favor of Closer. He was looking like a big threat. This composition, this dive threat of the Wukong Alistair Rumble pays off, and they will be able to pick up the Atakan, and it is going to be that Ruinous one as well, which, you know, I think with Voracious, you kind of have to get something out of the GA effect. Ruinous has immediate value. That equalizer was huge.
I mean, they don't have any vision there in that brush, and so I think it's okay if, like, the Xinjiao alone goes forward and clears it out for the upcoming fight. But the three of them were stacked on each other against Wukong Rumble, and I think that was really the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if one guy, Xinjiao, you know, takes a bunch of damage and he throws his ult out, you're so far ahead with your Ahri at least, maybe you still win the fight, but...
Yeah. I think maybe Bro getting a little bit overconfident.
Yeah.
Maybe a little lack of Brotax funds coming in this one.
The Optics on this one looking kind of... but taking a little downturn.
They are still ahead in Dragons. Dragon in 50 seconds, and it is their team color dragon, you know? That has to mean
their
something.
favorite type of dragon, yes.
I think you have to ult.
Yeah, Closer does have the ability to rush spiritually away from them.
He's holding it. He's like, maybe I don't have to ult. Maybe the Wukong will just stop hitting me if I just keep running. No.
Maybe it's a pacifist Wukong. You never know. Like,
and now you're in a situation where your Ahri doesn't have ultimate and Dragon is up in 20 seconds. I think you might have to give this because it's 60 seconds till Ahri has ult.
But Dan, it's the soul point Chemtech Dragon. You can't possibly give that away. Think of the value.
Yes. Yeah, truly.
And Closer's here. Surely he wouldn't just... Okay. Yeah,
45 seconds. That's all I need. 45 seconds to stall. Just mind control them to not fighting or taking the dragon.
I mean, Closer does not have his ult, and he at least has the arm guard. He is going to go golden. The turnaround is there. They've got their Zeri in the fight this time around. So not bad for Bro. Closer kind of acting like the bait, but now he doesn't have an arm guard, so...
Okay, now Bro have no ults. Apart from Jace ult, which isn't really an ult. It's transformation. So... they do make a decision to back away, given that there's still like the Featherstorm and the Cyclone available. But yeah, I mean, I guess they tried. Closer nearly has his ult up again. And I think if B&K VRX keeps setting this tempo of the game, with like forcing Closer ult and then fighting when it's not available, could be a good spot. He has just hit level 16 though, so his ult will be a lower cooldown. Less of a window for that. And Kellen is 3 levels up on Polu.
Level 11, Alistair running around, challenging junglers.
What a demon, what a beast.
He's put in the time, you know?
Yeah, he's
standing around his AD carry, getting levels. getting kills, setting up plays.
Well, I think a lot of it is the fights, right?
Yeah.
And particularly because they've come later, and you're getting a lot of XP for killing these high-level champions. So.
He helped kill Closer, right?
Yeah.
He was the one who set that play up initially. So, for sure.
But he has dealt almost 1,000 less damage than Polu, so...
Yes, a very big stat to point out.
Yes. Diable not dealing so much damage this game, kind of just there, but hasn't needed to really do so much other than be alive.
His build is kind of online now, so...
Yeah?
I mean, if we do get into a real fight, and keep in mind most of the fights we've had have just been like weird skirmishes where one team got caught out. So we haven't had like a true 5-on-5 with both of the AD carries going head-to-head, so...
Yep. To have double Seekers for BNK FearX with both solo laners having that active available gives them a lot of power in the next fight. Like, yes, Closer has more gold and has a full Zhonya's, but the difference between a Seekers and a Zhonya's in one fight isn't that much.
Yeah, absolutely. As LM's going in, I mean, he is Shin down, so he will stay alive. Kellen as well, but eventually that ult does dissipate. Kellen also gonna have the same happening to him, but now look at Diablo just going forward. He's got the Feather Storm, and he's going to do a bunch of damage here to Closer. Takes him down. It's a triple kill for Diablo. They're still trying to dive the turret. They don't have to do that. They dig a big fight, and BNK set their sights on the Baron. A lot of low health bars here, but Vikla's got a giant shield.
I mean, you just said Diable's online, and he instantly looks for an opportunity to capitalize on that. No one's going to contest this, so they should be able to pick it up pretty easily. And BNK FearX really taking control of this game. I'm not sure why LM looked for this.
Because he hit the ability, you have to go in.
Not the smartest move. They do end up eventually taking down the Alistair after burning basically everything and the health bars being really low. And then Diable really high play, looking aggressively for this. Closer not able to finish him off there without landing the charm. A little bit of a weird one. A lot of weird fights this game, but BNK FearX coming out on top of it, and now with a pretty solid gold lead, looking to threaten in Bro's jungle. And importantly, Kellen's still 3 levels ahead. He's maintaining that level lead.
He definitely is. He's still enjoying a nice ult. I think it gets a bit longer at 11. And now, I mean, with the Baron, they've got some pretty nice pressure here. Game isn't over at this point, but if they take down all the turrets...
By the way, the Alistair ult doesn't get longer, but the damage reduction increases.
Oh, well, there you go. Support main on the desk with me.
That's what I'm here for.
How many games of Alistair do you have?
Too many to count.
Too many that you want to count. But here comes Raptor. He is running at the TP, unfortunately for him, as he is going to actually taxi onto Closer, but that is Ari. Nice secondary ult as well. Raptor, he got himself into a really rough spot, and he makes the best of it. He does get away. And a little bit of help from the equalizer as well. They didn't want to overchase there.
Yeah, a lot committed though to try and make that work, and it just feels like Bro are kind of in the place. It's less extreme, but in a similar spot to what BNK FearX were in Game 1, where they're looking for these picks because they're on the back foot. They're trying to find ways where they can avoid a 5v5 because of how strong this enemy composition is right now, and the devastation their dive has had.
Yes. You got there in the end.
Yeah. Sometimes words are difficult, you know.
The English language not necessarily built to be easy. But you can see the full pressure they have on the Rift. They got the bottom inner turret. They got the top inner turret. Now they're going to get the mid inner turret. So really just extending the lead, trying to make the Red Bull Baron power play as large as possible, rather than take any big risk.
Wukong is
trying to get out.
hard to catch.
Yeah.
They'll smite for the slow, sees the TP come in, sidesteps, dash, ult, flashes the W as well. It's really well played. And then, you know, Clear? Clear's like, I saved my jungler, but he's also farming the damage numbers with that ult, you know?
I mean, it's going to feel pretty good. Wow. Okay, well, the combo could have been better, but still, I love the effort. They're just sending it into that backline, but Raptor is down already, and at least they're going to be able to take out Hype with that equalizer. Now the rest of the team on the follow-up, and Bro does not have their AD carry, as Diablo looking to continue to chase. It's just going to be a couple of guys going down. And BNK not able to force anything else. They should be able to get this dragon off of the back of this fight. Looks like Ellum will just run away.
I feel like Clear has just been such a threat in these fights where, you know, even if things go a little bit whiff, as the Callan Engage did, the Rumble damage is just kind of hitting absurd levels. So holds to block the CC, and then maybe the intention was to knock it after. I don't know. I would have just gone for the combo.
Yeah.
But this equalizer at the end just cooks the Zeri, and then Clear's just kind of walking up and melting everyone. And he's just so bulky as well. He's like, yeah, you can be Tankari. I am Rumble. I'm the original AP bruiser.
Yeah.
I have a lot of HP and a big shield, and I do 1,000,000 damage.
He really does. I mean, the fact that they got that first pick Rumble, and a lot of the bans were focused on mid and AD carry, means that he was able to pick that up first. And the answer of the Jace has really not been doing much. I mean, Morgan has been doing a little bit of shock blast damage here and there, but the comparison...
I think as well, like, you know, it's not the tank chase where when the enemy team dives into you, you're thriving. And the enemy team has so much dive, they will, like, there's not that many opportunities where Morgan could just sit there and land poke.
Yeah.
Because if you're posturing for that, BNK Fearax are probably going to engage on you. And again, with it not being a tank chase, you do die in those engages. You can't just kind of have them all jump on you and just chill and do damage.
There's definitely a lot of shielding on the side of BNK, so he picked up the Serpent's Fang just to maybe enable Hype, who is going to be the main carry, at least of the AD variety. So he's got that going for him after his first couple of items, I guess, but he's still down a level, hasn't hit level 18. Infinity Edge complete here for Hype.
Big spike.
He hasn't been a big factor in these fights. It feels like the Zeri should be able to get away and handle a lot of pressure, but hasn't really been able to deal with the Wukong, it feels like.
I think the Wukong Rise is really hard to play Zeri into, because if you're in range to hit them, you're probably getting CC'd and dying.
Yeah.
Similar with the Alistair. Similar with the Rumble, honestly. I feel like you have to play these fights well now. Oh, flank coming in.
Flank coming in. The Rise going right on top of Hype here as LM. And Morgan, once again, in a lot of trouble. He's going to get the knockback, but with the equalizer, there's just no hope for him. And the Jace, once again, not able to do much of anything at all. There's the root onto Hype, and he's trying to hit an ulted Alistair. It's just 0 damage.
Oh.
In goes Closer, just to die, I guess.
A
quick work of that, as that should be the end of the game. 33 minutes in, BNK take the final fight, and they will take down this Nexus.
I think despite the Ahri getting fed early on, BNK Fearax really took control of the game. Diablo, who started off silent, farmed up and just started to become a monster in these later fights. I think him and Clear really having a lot of presence in these 5v5s, and BNK Fearax not ready to let their Saturday Showdown streak end.
6 in a row for them. They're looking for number 7, and they'll pick up this game number 2 in this series at least. They will have to move over to red side, as no doubt Bro will select the blue side. It feels like these two teams have really struggled from the red side today. But yeah, the Zeri not able to handle the pressure. The Ahri got ahead. Closer was gonna be the guy again, but a couple of unfortunate picks for him. And mispositionings just meant that BNK actually were the team that stuck together and had better teamwork in game number 2. So maybe all that time spent in the coach's booth last time really helped them out this time.
Yep, definitely seems like that way. I think the draft gave them a much better tool, a lot of much better tools. They wanted to be proactive like they were in game 1, but they didn't have to deal with Slayer, and didn't have to deal with all that anti-dive pressure. And it just felt like Bro at points got a little disrespectful and got punished very quickly for it. I think they were at the point where like, Closer's fed, we've already won game 1, if we win this game, you know, we can go get some food. No, you have to
feeling a bit
still
hungry.
Respect your opponent, and BNK Fearax really came alive. You can see in the goal graph, there was that point about 20 minutes where it looked like Bro taking control, but BNK Fearax answered back, and not enough Bro tax paid, I think, is the real symptom of the problem here. The cause of the symptoms.
That's always the issue. Our chatters really got to pick it up here. But yeah, the Rumble playing a huge part. The difference in damage was massive. Guys, we're going to take a break and have the space to break down game 2. We'll be right back.
나 크게 둘게. 기다려.
좋긴 해 나도.
나 크게 둘게.
정면으로 갈게.
나 제리 노플인데 나 천천히 가.
야 제리 위치 좋은데?
가볼게.
아 제리 보자.
제리 넘어. 아래 봐줘.
데이스 오플.
데이트 오플.
다리 벌고. 아 볼게.
야 끝까지 가보자. 데이트 오플이야.
싸워도 노플이야. 싸워도 노플. 싸워 봐줘.
야 제리 잡아.
제리 봐봐.
제리 볼게라.
헬리스턴.
제리 잡았어. 야 아리 봐줘. 아리.
아리 개피.
바텀 메이드. 제리 가자. 전령 때 큰일 날 거야.
If you can't tell the difference, I guess you're just not a real LCK fan.
You're not a true fan, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Varus ban gonna come out again. Yone gonna come out from BNK FearX. They have swapped back to the sides running game one. Narban gonna come through, denying that from Clear. Morgan didn't seem to have too much fun last game, playing the Jace into the Rumble. I mean, lane was okay. But generally Clear having a pretty good performance, which I think has been needed. He's been a little bit absent, I feel like, this year so far, compared to the form that we saw from him like 2023, when he was really tearing things up. Knocked-in ban going to come through, and it definitely feels like jungle's getting pinched a little bit already, with a lot of the big high-prio junglers taken off the cards. There are the tank junglers left in Skarner and Sejuani, but who wants to play tank junglers, am I right?
Yeah, I would never want to do that. I mean, you got to ban Gwen here, right? Because you kind of left yourself in a position now where Aurora and Azir are going to be left up. And, you know, already a couple of big top-tier picks into the Gwen have already been played now. I don't think you really want to give that over to Morgan. That would be my ban, at least. Let's see what they go for. Oh,
It's Gwen face pick, it has to be.
it's targeting closer instead. That is a big gamble.
You know what's actually weird? It's like, you know what was one of the old counters to Gwen in the top lane? Akali. You know, I don't think they were going to play it, don't get me wrong, but it's just weird that they ban it, right? But yeah, immediate slam for the Gwen from Morgan.
I agree that it's weird that they ban it too.
And I'm not sure what BNK FearX are going to pick in response.
Just for other reasons. Yeah. So they have to have something prepared. Like, they should not be discussing a top pick at this point. They should know what their answer is.
Well, the Azir does come through. Not too much of a surprise for Vikla. Now, I think jungler could make a lot of sense here. The jungle priority is moving up just because there's been so many taken off the cards already. It is a pool that thins out, I think, quicker, compared to like top lane, especially as the big top laners have already been taken off the cards. So we'll see. I think maybe if you go on a top lane pick, it'd probably be Jax, but you could save that till 3.
Yeah.
And they go to Skarner, going for that tank jungler. Skarner currently 0-4 in the LCK regular season. Immediately, Ivern Tristana. Now, 25.07 is when the Ivern buff comes in. This is pre-buff Ivern. His root is not would have been longer at early levels. So it's pre-buff Ivern, but still, we've seen it win in the LCK this week, obviously, to great effect. And pairing it with a Gwen and Tristana, that is scary, and especially if you're playing a tank jungler into that. Like, what is a Skarner supposed to do against, like, a buffed up Gwen, especially as you can just, like, immune your team's damage and just shred you?
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have a great answer into the Gwen just yet. I mean, the Leona, if Kellen can get inside the circle and land some stuns and roots and stuff, maybe, but I mean, we know what Gwen can do, and they still haven't picked an answer to the Gwen. The Jax was the first answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I find so weird about this Leona pickup is that, you know, the Jax, which I was thinking, surely you take that into the Gwen at this point, is now taken off the card. So either they have something prepared that, like, it's never going to get banned, or this might have been a mistake. Now, Braum, Poppy denied. They are good picks into Leona. But I think one of the key things with Ivern is you really want an engaged support to pair with it. And we're not fans of the engaged Braum. Poppy, not a phenomenal engaged champion.
Yeah. What was there just talking about? Nautilus?
Yeah. Well, we'll see
I don't know about Nautilus, but
MF gonna be denied. I think it makes sense. MF Leona, a really strong combo. Ashe is still open and available. Ashe Braum obviously is not. But we'll see. Because I think if you don't pick something with lane pressure, we could just get like a Kai'Sa Nord slam. Kai'Sa's gonna come through from Diablo, in fact. So
why is Clear laughing?
I don't know.
You know, you were talking about Clear. He had moments of dominance. We don't think it's currently in that moment. He did have a good game of Rumble. Don't want to take that away from him, but he hasn't, I don't think personally I've seen him on a lot of different picks where I'm like, wow, he can play this, he can play that. He doesn't have a huge champion pool in my mind, so.
There's the Ashe, which,
yeah.
like I was thinking, and yeah, there's the Nautilus. So here's the thing is I think you need to engage with the Ivern, and you now have not only a support who can engage, but an AD carry who can engage as well. And sure, a lot of people favor the Leona matchup into the Nautilus, but the extra shielding from the Ivern can actually make it, like, the Nautilus feel a lot more confident engaging in the team fights. If he is the one on the front line or in those
Fiora.
Fiora comes through. So this was the pick they were saving that they had ready for the Gwen. The thing is, I'm just going to be brutally honest. How do BNK FearX team fight against Rion? Ever.
Well, you don't.
And you may think, well, what if they CC them? Well, I don't know if you know this, but you can actually build McHale's on Ivern. So, good luck. I just think that they've got this Fiora matchup. They have a good pick for Vikla. You know, he had a good Azir game, but he's playing the Tristana, which closes fine with that matchup. Fiora is clearly the counter to the Gwen, but it's not just like in team fights that obviously Gwen is better than Fiora, but you're also playing into a Gwen with the Ivern backup, right? What are you supposed to do in comparison to that in team fights? And split pushing is kind of weak at the moment. It's been weak for a while, but particularly now where it's like, okay, Grubs, Dragon, Herald, Atakan, Baron. Like, there's so many objectives in this game. The side lane and farm strategy for Fiora just isn't really on the cards. So, you know, game 2, BNK FearX had some great options. I think this one might be a struggle. The Kai'Sa and the Ashe is a rough lane. I think the only matchup I think BNK FearX might be confident on is Fiora, but I'm not sure it's going to matter.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest point. You know, they had this prepared. They're talking about this 1v1 matchup, no doubt, and saying we're going to win this one, but does that make them win the game? Because that's what matters. Who's going to kill the Nexus? And right now, the better draft is Bro by a million miles. We'll have to see how much this Fiora can get done as we hop into the Rift for game number 3. Alrighty.
Yes. Yeah, it's the early game. Not much is happening yet. Oh, I say that. A little bit of trading. So maybe we have some more time to talk about the draft.
Just to spite you.
Some more time to talk about the draft. I just find it weird they picked the Leona on 3, because they would have first priority after the bans to pick a support if they wanted, if they thought things were going to get banned out. And they could have just taken Jax on 3. That's what really perplexes me. That's what's really...
Yeah. I mean... Jax.
Because Jax here would be insane. Think about it, right? You have like triple auto-attacking damage dealers. It's a good matchup in a Gwen.
I mean, when you already see Ivern Tristana, you know that the Tristana's going mid, right? So you know they're picking another AD carry. The Jax is just freeload, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if they were like, oh, we've practiced this Fiora versus Gwen matchup so many times. Like, unless he's going to literally 1v9 this game.
No, he needs to dunk on Morgan. If he doesn't dunk him, and you know what? I'm going to make it a little bit worse for you, okay? Look at Morgan's sums. He has Ignite. So, like, we've had the buff to the early game of Gwen, and he has Ignite. How confident are we that Claire is going to win this 1v1? Because he needs to be supremely confident.
Yeah.
And I also want to see Raptor, you know, the fact he hasn't already ganked up is...
Why didn't he start in the lane?
Exactly.
Well,
I'm exaggerating a little, but yeah, I definitely think you need it. All your eggs are in the Fiora basket right now.
Yeah, they definitely are. And we're going to see a nice little engage here actually onto a Diablo. He's going to have to cleanse, but he might still be in trouble here as flashing early just not to die. As already the bottom lane going very well here for Bro. Just a straight up hook from Palu.
So this is why we've seen so much priority on picks like the Ashe, the MF, the Varus, the Kalista. And I thought we might end up in a situation when BNK FearX took Ashe, and then Bro had to take Kai'Sa.
Well, and probably should have.
Oh yeah, and then you're in this situation, and now Diablo's just lost both summoners, and this is kind of how it is, you know. This is why Kai'Sa and another example is Alistair have fallen off since lane swaps have been removed, because you have to play lane level 1. And in this case, you didn't get to play lane level 1.
Yeah. And Kai'Sa's really good with like hard engaged compositions. By the way, the Fiora's losing in the 1v1.
There's no
Player goes
way.
back in and...
Biscuits.
Yeah, no,
this isn't good.
He doesn't die, but really the issue is that he's losing the lane.
And also, because he was ignited during the biscuits, you don't even get that much healing from it. Like, Morgan's got more health. Okay, Raptor's showing up, but so...
Guess who's here?
LM's here too.
LM's here, and Raptor just has to back away. And LM's ahead as well. Like, he even gives him a little bush. He's like, here, have this.
You know, Raptor knew what his job was, so did LM. And it's been a while since I've seen Tristana here, I think, but definitely seen it a lot, and a lot of just jump on his head. And true to the bro motto, blow it up.
Absolutely. Well, we got a little fight down here on the bottom side of the map, looking for the Rift Scuttler. And that one is going to go towards the Ivern, not a big surprise.
I really like how Poly ulted it, even though, like, Ivan doesn't need help. It's just like, you know, when people would, like, try and leash for an Ivan, and they're just like, guys, go to lane. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's a thought that counts.
There's definitely a lot of people who still don't even know what Ivern does. Or, like, how he works, or, like, what this champion is meant to do. Just know that he's a great support from the jungle.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta know.
To be fair, I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know what certain champions do. You know.
Does anyone really know what Aphelios does? Still?
I don't know.
I mean, we do.
Might be some misconceptions
but, like, what about?
I feel like after the draft, there might have been some misconceptions about what Fiora can do.
Yeah.
Her best, definitely. Enough, perhaps not.
Yeah. Well, we said, you know. We said Claire really had to stomp this lane, and he's already fallen behind. It takes a good trade there, but he's still behind on CS.
I think this is the problem, is that, like, Gwen got such a boost to her early game, and look, like, obviously Fiora is a strong late game champion. Like, in the context of a different game, her being behind early wouldn't be an issue, but in the context of you're going to get blasted in team fights by bro, and be forced to opt into team fights, not a good spot. He's finding some good trades now.
Yeah, he's getting in there. Morgan getting pretty low. He's got flash available. There's the slow, and now LM comes up with the shield. It was a bait all along. The timing is perfect, and down will go clear just like that. First blood to Ivern. It's going to be a quick first item for that guy.
Yep, and now you've missed the window. Oh.
All right, a little engage here. We'll see if they can do anything to Paul. It doesn't look like much.
You missed the window where,
You'll get to talk soon, Ox, I swear.
Need to bring up the window.
All right, I give you permission to talk.
You missed the window where Morgan didn't have Ignite. He now has Ignite again in a couple of seconds, so that boost to his power can come back in. Also got a Dark Seal stack.
Raptor's trying his best.
He is. But bot lane, all things considered how bad the level 1 was, Bible has managed to kind of stabilize a decent amount, not too far behind in terms of farm, but still a little bit precarious. And now BK Ferex is going for the Raptors. Raptors, he is Raptor, he's going for the grubs.
The grubs are going for the Raptors.
Or is Raptor going for the grubs? Bit of both. And he will just take one and disengage with good reason, because Morgan was heading over, or heading towards the top side. So I think both sides happy just with how this has progressed.
Yeah. Couple of grubs. LM not level 6, so it's going to take him a little while to kill that last grub. But that's okay. He does take it down. And grub's very important when you're running a Fiora comp if you wanted to really take this 1v1 to the next level and you wanted to get a split push off. But they only get the 1 grub. So, yeah, I mean, maybe you get 4. But you need to have pressure on the top side of the map. We'll see if maybe they can rotate, but even their bottom lane, you know, not a bottom lane with pressure.
Yep. They're doing a good job of just riposting the snip, but there's a long cooldown.
Well, Kellen's hanging around, maybe looking to try to gank a Tristana. Probably not the best
Not the easy
angle.
You know, maybe a shuffle from Vikla.
Yeah.
You get a flash. Perhaps. Do you have level 6 from Raptor now? Hasn't been top so much recently, I do think that if you opt into the 2v2, it could go disastrously. And speaking of disastrously,
Yeah, well, we'll see if he drops an ult on top of Morgan. He's going to hold on to that for now. Just trying to get very skirmishy, trying to take a lot of trades. But again, you need pressure from your jungle. You need to feel like you'll actually be able to win those trades. At this moment, we're not convinced.
yeah.
Already over 1,000 gold, the lead here for Bro. And it's pretty much every lane that's doing it, especially the Ivern, who did get that kill.
You can see, like, even though Dible's generally doing a good job of keeping up in farm. Oh,
All right, well, there we go. Gonna pull the trigger on this one, and now he's got Raptor with him to maybe help out, but Morgan's still a bit healthy. Can he take the 1v2? As the needles are coming out, he dodges the impale, just trying to buy as much time as possible.
Wait, they have to
BK
back
are running
away?
away 2v1. They don't know exactly where Ivern is, and they see him in the river, and they're like, well, we can't take this. And so not even with jungle help can they kill the Gwen.
guys, I'm gonna say it. I think the Fiora counter pick might not be working.
Thank you for that that information, Onks. We weren't sure.
Maybe we need a little bit more verification, but I think I'm ready to make my conclusion.
Yeah, I know that Wolf generally does, you know, Zeri verifications on Zeri moments and stuff like that, but maybe he can, like, have a little side gig on draft verifications on whether or not the game was done in draft. Feels a little bit like that. Now,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, whether or not the game is done in draft, it's definitely feeling a lot worse now. Like if you're investing into this Fiora counter pick, is kind of gone to zero.
yeah, there's sometimes as casters we'll be like, okay, well, if they get ahead, you know, they have a comp that works from ahead. I feel like any comp that gets far enough ahead will kind of fulfill that, but especially for BNK, if it's even at all, I think they're just losing 100% of the time.
I think we've seen, and every fan will have seen drafts they don't like, they don't agree with, win. You know, it happens plenty of times.
Oh boy. Well, he got hit by the volley, and he doesn't have his ult. So Clear just trying to go for the trade. It's not going to work out, and now Morgan is going to pick up the kill with a little bit of help from his friend Hype, who doesn't even bother to use the enchanted crystal arrow.
Could have been a Jax. Yeah, like, I mean,
Might be able to force flash, yeah.
I mean, I keep trying to make a point and stuff keeps happening.
It happens so much in this game, actually. It's so funny.
Okay, stuff is happening.
Well, they're trying to do something to the Gwen here. Do they have enough? Already Raptor pretty low. He doesn't get the stun, but eventually will land the impale, and it takes 4 people.
Oh, but
and
Leona gets the kill.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Hype, you tried. Yeah, maybe a little bit disrespectful. Morgan going for that TP. Maybe a little bit of the generous Giga Chad himself. Wanted to give Kellim some gold.
He wanted to be as juicy of bait as possible to give Hype as many plates as possible.
Yeah. But yeah, I think my original point after being stalled out 7 times. Often
No longer relevant.
we've had it, fans will have had it. You'll see draft that you don't agree with, you don't like, and it'll still go on to win the game. That can definitely happen. You know, even if a draft isn't favored, you can still win. But clearly a lot of BNK FearX's draft was based around this Fiora being successful, and it just has not been so far.
50 gold.
True. Maybe that's the game plan. Just kill Daisy.
Kill Daisy over and over to make up the difference. Well, we've seen that happen at least a couple of times, getting kills on Daisy. There is that very early first item, the redemption, of course, for the Ivern.
That's awkward to deal with. I feel like it's so strong as an early first item in these skirmishes, like the amount of healing it gives. Can really be a massive difference maker. But yeah, well, BNK FearX will get some grubs at least, and it will be a 3 for 3 overall. But Morgan's getting plates.
I mean, Morgan's getting plates, Closer's getting plates, Hype got a bunch of plates in the top lane. Okay, Vigla's finally going to find him. He just throws out an ult and didn't even have to buffer, did Closer. He just jumps away first. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of bros down here in the bottom side, but they're not going to try to dive in Azir.
Okay. And the thing is, Pro scaled so well. They're kind of chilling. They've just picked up double Yuntal Wild Arrows, so like, you know, they need to get some autos down, get that crit stacked up. They're not under any pressure. We are seeing the crit build again from the Kai'Sa that we saw aiming debut the other day. Does mean you have a weaker Triumph Spike compared to the AP build. But those big crits when you get into the late game.
Yeah, maybe just trying to match that, you know, try to be a force in the team fights. Diablo is going to have to cleanse this one. And Hype will take that trade every day of the week. As now, maybe a fight here. Ellen gonna get caught up. Does land the root first, but they're both stuck in place, which means the Ivern might just die here to the Leona. Nice setup from Kellen and Raptor to make that happen. Flash over the wall, but Paulo gonna get followed here. That's the ult from him, only hits Diablo. And that's a kill for the Kai'Sa, so they pick up a couple. And B&K are not out of this one just yet.
Yeah, good moves. Layering the CC well onto Elim there, and you know, wasn't really able to do much to keep himself alive. The redemption came in after he died. The ignite would have reduced the healing anyway. So good proactive play from the side of B&K FureX. Not ready to lose their streak yet.
Yeah, I mean 6-0 in Saturday showdowns.
And 10-0 over Bro.
In match score.
Yeah.
For both of those. So pretty insane numbers. But yeah, just trying to clear up vision just gets flashed on.
Yep, didn't have that flash from earlier when he was caught at his Raptors. And it is Raptor who flashes onto him.
Yeah. And this is, you know, bros, sometimes they're very much of the mindset of, okay, we need to help out our fellow bros.
Yeah.
And Paulo takes that a little bit too far. Tries to get in there, tries to help the Ivern, and just dies instead. And gives a kill over to Diablo, who, you know, I don't think he deserves all the pressure, but he's really going to have a lot of pressure to keep up with 280 carries when you're Kai'Sa. You have lower range. You know, he is going the crit build at least, which we talked about, which should help out. Although they'll have a decent amount less poke, but when you're playing into Ivern, maybe that's not exactly what you want.
Yeah. This means the spikes take a bit longer to come online. I feel like that's kind of going to be half the course for this B&K FureX team. The fact they have the early dragon and have gotten some pressure is good. And now looking to try and get this top tower down, but Bro moving to protect. We've told them 40 seconds, so getting some setup, and we don't need to look bot lane. Well, I guess it's the top lane matchup, but yeah. It's not going good for Clear.
Yeah, we do have the health bars underneath the portraits. As now gonna send it. Here come the needles, as there's the grand challenge as well, as now Clear has to flash away. At least he gets away from the needles. Here comes an arrow, as he is Fiora, who will be able to dash that. But
I feel like this
still losing lane.
This is another situation where like, oh, well, he lives, but yeah, you kind of pick to survive. Is not an ideal situation to be in.
Yeah, definitely is not. Morgan really enjoying this first pick. Gwen.
Now 1,000 gold up on the Fiora. Not ideal.
Yeah. A bunch of warding up here on the top side of the map, but
yeah, B&K FureX are looking for closer. He will jump away. Nice knockback, but the tower's going to go down, and B&K FureX can just look straight towards the Herald. Be interesting to see if we see some moves from Bro down towards the bot side for that dragon instead. Looks like they might be contesting on the top side. But I honestly think just the dragon pickup makes more sense. You don't need to deny the Herald right now. Your mid tower is pretty healthy. Although, counterpoint, B&K FureX are just resetting. So, wanting to spend some gold, not wanting to rush into things, taking their time.
Yeah, really taking their time. You know, you've got Gwen, you've got 280 carries with Ivern. You're omega chilling in this game. You're sitting back, just waiting. We'll see what the Dragon Soul is as well. Could be Chemtech again, which actually
Chemtech with Ivern,
pretty good.
The extra heal and shield power.
Yeah. Here's the Infernal. Should go the way of B&K. Doesn't look like Bro are in position to challenge this one.
And I think this is where Bro are kind of making some fumbles. Instead of like opting to cross map and either go for Dragon when they were a Herald or go for Herald when they were a Dragon. They kind of just watch.
Oh, that was a huge amount of damage. Just AoE on top of all of them. And now they say, well, how about we don't dive this turret?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the side lanes, they're going to lose top turret, and the Gwen is unanswered in bot lane for the moment. And as we already know, the Fiora here clear is not really answering the Gwen. Morgan's still going to respect the lack of vision, but...
Yeah, now they'll go for the Herald. So good defense of the mid-tier 1. We'll find a window to go for the Herald as BNK FearX have to do their homework and deal with those side lanes. Unless Raptor comes in and tries to steal this, he could slide over and smite.
I mean, the timing is there if you win right away, but...
Just try to throw the rock.
Yeah.
Well, now it's kind of the onus is on Bro to find a window to take that mid-tier 1 in return. Already taking the outer towers in bottom top. So we'll see if they find a window to set up. And I think with this composition of like the double AD carry Ivan, you can kind of just group mid if you want. Like, don't get me wrong, their side lane and pressure is good, but if there's ever a point where they just group up as 5, they're going to feel confident.
Yeah. Maybe, you know, when their AD carries get a couple more items, their Ivern gets a couple more supportive items. You see that the trading here is going as expected. Once again, Raptor, though.
As expected from the game we've seen,
Yeah.
not from the draft, in which
Exactly.
I expected hopefully a bit more.
Yeah.
It's now it's like it's over 1,000 gold lead still, but it's like almost 40 CS. I think it was 40 CS earlier as well. I think when Morgan hits like second item threshold, that's when it's really going to be uncomfortable for the Fiora.
I'm excited to see Clear try his best to make this Fiora look OP. Scale up into the end game and try to eventually take trades against the Gwen, because in very long extended trades, if you have, you know, 3-4 items, could definitely see the Fiora win some 1v1s.
Okay, progress being made. And Bro are just going for the group up mid with that Herald.
And they're going to get a charge. Out comes Daisy. Engage from Kellen. Sails wide. And now the engage comes in from Paulo. Already a lot of damage, but that is Leona. They don't overcommit. Probably smart at this point in time.
Yeah, the Azir. Oh, here we go.
The dash
Follow up.
into the arrow.
I think the Azir tower coming down really negated the ability for Bro to pressure more. You know, a little bit of trading. They get the mid-tier 1. I think they're happy with that. Morgan is back in the bot lane, stealing Gromps away.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds really significant.
I mean, it's big. You know, you're stealing the enemy jungle camps away. That's always going to add.
Trying to steal Raptors?
Yeah. That's kind of messed up, honestly. I wouldn't do that to Raptor. Not as Raptors. It's Krugs, like, that's fine.
Again, we've seen Closer. I mean, maybe he's stacking up his Yuntal wild arrows. That's fair enough. But he was just ordering the Scuttle Crab that was about to be smoked.
Yeah. He's helping. He's adding action into the game.
Yes.
He's getting pretty fed, too. I mean, he's just been hanging out in the side lane mostly.
Just farming.
A
lot of farm in this game. It's been a farm-heavy game.
Yeah. He's getting pretty fed. I mean, nothing really has happened with our mid laners, but...
And that's why we have the Voracious Atakan, because the
Yeah.
game has said, guys, stop farming. It's time to faceplant under a tower. Or Atakan. Both work. But you see Morgan walking up. Rudan's just picked up for Diablo here. A lot of 2-item spikes for the side of Bro, though, and they are just churning through this Atakan.
Yeah. They say, well, this is one way to start a team fight. You mentioned it, actually, in the draft. You know, you got Rift Heralds, you got Grubs, you got Atakans, you got Barons, you got Dragons. You got to fight over something eventually, as in they go. They're trying to take out Hype, who somehow lived for so long. Eventually, they do take him down, but down goes Leona as well. Palu eating a lot closer, jumping in, takes out Diablo. As Vikla trying to be that late game damage. Clear has a nice angle on the left side as he will get that elimination onto Elim, and there you go. Takes out Closer as well. And now the Fiora, in a scrappy fight like this with some help from the Skarner, picks up the win in the fight, does BNK.
BNK FearX able to clear up, and the Team Fight Fiora comes through clutch. A very weird start to the fight where, like, LM is so far from Hype. Why are you engaging this fight? His shield's, like, on cooldown from tanking Atakan. Like, if you won the fight, that's fine, but it seems like Bro were completely split. You know, they lose their bot lane before the fight even starts, and you can see despite the fact they've already lost their bot laners, it's still kind of close. But it's just too little too late. And BNK Fearex, always happy to take an own goal.
Well, that's a kill. Yeah, a little bit of disrespect for the Fiora. Picks up one.
And now a third dragon on the cards.
I mean, you get a Mountain Soul on like Leona, Skarn, or Fiora. It's not half bad. I mean, it's going to be a tanky Azir as well.
What does Ivan do? Provide shields? The Soul can do that, you know?
Yeah.
The Hex Splash over?
It's just as good. That hook was kind of funny. Might have made the difference. But eventually Hype comes over and then Paulo's like, okay, you got him, right?
Oh, right? At least Hype got the gold. Worthy sacrifice. Okay, and the Frozen Heart value from Raptor. You know, we've seen some atrocious tank builds. I'm thinking of like a certain Cassante Spirit Visage that we saw, but Frozen Heart value here, kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it goes insane into any piece of damage that Bro have, so a fantastic second item pickup.
Yeah, this brings me back to the point we were making after the draft. Sometimes draft it's not enough, you know? You have to play the game, you have to click the buttons.
Yeah.
And Bro, they need the...
Well, no, they're going to get Ellen once again, and the Leona ult comes down as well. The damage from Diablo is there. They take out two, and Bro, they face plant into the river once again as Closer trying his best, but he gets taken out. It's a triple kill for Diablo.
They might just be able to end. I actually think they just... The death timers are long. They have so much tower damage.
I think they just win the game. Boy, that's insane. They can just tank this up. They have the tankiness. They have the minions behind them. And yeah.
It's only follow-up in like 3 seconds.
They're definitely going to try.
I think it's done. Sure. I think it's done. I think it's actually done.
Apollo is going to try to pull this wave, but he can't pull those caster minions away. Down will go the Nexus turrets, and sometimes you just got to play the game of League of Legends well, and that's the way you'll win the game, BNK. They outplay them here in game number 3, and they take Saturday Showdown for the 7th time in a row.
Who are we to doubt them? Who are we to doubt the drafts?
We
doubt the
known.
win streak?
We should have known.
Not enough Bro tax was paid, and Bro's not able to match up to the Fiora counter pick that lost lane, but team fought with prowess. You know, it all came together, and Bro probably feeling a lot of regret at this one, unable to get their first win in the week. BNK Fearex managing to close out this series. And the second time they're taking the series to 3 games, but this time they got the dub.
They absolutely did. Clear, he looks pretty happy with the way that one went by the end of it all. I think for Bro, you know, you were in total control, and then they started Otacon. That objective, man, I feel like it's been the death of so many teams, so many games.
It's not even the fact they started Otacon. I don't even think they started Otacon as that bad.
Well, it's like it put a mind worm in them.
But they started Otacon and they started its team fight at the same time. You know?
Yeah.
Pick a struggle, please. Please. But
if they waited until the fight came to them on the Otacon.
Do you know, I just remember that fan who came here and had the science and he traveled over like 8,000 kilometers to see Bro play.
Oh.
This is the Bro experience. You cannot be sad about this as a Bro fan. This is just how it goes.
Yeah.
Against all odds.
Maybe because he was here, he didn't pay his Bro tax.
I hope not. Surely, if you're here in person, you're still paying the Bro tax.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate, but, you know, Bro, they'll have to go back to the drawing board. I think there's going to be a lot of regrets after this game number 3. It felt like they were in so much control of that game, but BNK, they just kind of ran at them. And Bro were like, oh God, we got to fight this. And it did not go their way. BNK, props to them for making the best out of a rough situation.
Making the best out of a teamfight Fiora, who was 40 CS down. Yeah, well, we're going to see some of those clips. I think it's definitely worth talking about, because Claire's top lane matchup just did not go well. And not only due to his own performance, but also just LM showing up at certain times. And then here, I love the focus onto the Ivan in this situation. You know, he's providing shields to the teammates instead of going for the carries. Just looking to punish the squishy supportive jungler here. This is the main problem. LM just shielded himself, right? He didn't have shield for the AD carry because he shielded himself because he tanked Adakan. I just have like...
It's kind of crazy because they already lost the fight even before Clear got there.
This is, you know, sometimes you see plays where it's like, okay, there's a lack of coordination. It looks like solo queue. This looks like they were playing on different servers. You know, it looks like the bot lane was on EU West and the rest of the team was on the Korean server. It looked like there was... I just have no idea how the divide happened there.
Yeah.
And then this play, again, they catch the Ivan, who just gets bursted down, doesn't get to provide that value. The Nautilus goes too. And we see the cleanup come in.
Yeah, and you see Clear gets a 1v1, which is exactly what he wants as Fiora. You see that BNK, the coaching staff, very happy after this win.
And the confidence to go for the end, knowing that they can pull it off, long death timers. But this must have been devastating for Bro, watching their base crumble and thinking, we could have won this. We could have won this series, we could have won this game. The BNK FearX, better team on the day. Even overcoming some drafts we didn't feel so positively about.
There was like one person who said Nautilus, and everybody's like, tower, 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 tower. Like, no. Big nices from the squad. Looks like Clear was very happy. He did a lot of damage in trading with Morgan. I mean, certainly the Fiora was able to do that. It just felt like there were a couple of team fights that just absolutely broke down. And huge props to Raptor and Kellen for some really great synergy. Like Raptor getting multiple impales into just straight up like holding them in place. The solar flare comes down, the follow up with the Kaisa.
Yep.
You could see what they were going for. Again, the Fiora, we talked enough about that. But, you know, in the team fights, it looked great. And Raptor, I think, 100% deserves this one. Excellent Wukong game, set up a lot of those plays, and then finishes off with a great Skarner.
Yeah, I think even the game one that obviously didn't go fantastically for them, like I think he was the best performer in that one. So working pretty hard and definitely deserving of that POM.
Well, guys, we have the interview very quickly. We are ready for that one right now, so let's hop into it and see what Raptor has to say right now on the stage.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Raptor on the side of BNK FearX. Congratulations!
네, 승리 소감 먼저 여쭤볼게요.
How do you feel?
대회에서 승리를 해본 지 되게 오래된 것 같은데 오늘 다 같이
No, it feels like it's been so long since we got a victory on stage, so I'm just really happy and glad that we were able to accomplish it.
적으로 만나보니까 오늘 좀 어떠셨나요?
It was a hyped match against your former teammate, Closer, so how was it meeting him as an enemy?
저희 팀에 있다가 상대를
It was quite entertaining.
재밌더라고요.
오, 재밌으셨다.
Yeah, from ally to an enemy. It was really fun.
클로저 선수의 기세가 좀 강력하기도 했기 때문에 경계도
Yeah, Closer had such a strong momentum today.
어떤 점을 좀 가장 신경 쓰셨을까요?
So what did you focus on the most during the match?
저희가 더 잘한다고 생각해서 왔기 때문에 좀 사고 안 나고
First of all, we came here with the mindset that we're better, and I think it's just all about not making mistakes and just playing out as we normally do. And in game 2, your 3-man Wukong ult really turned everything around. So how did you feel in this moment? You know, I really can't remember this moment.
좋았을 것 같은데
아, 네. 3인구 했으면
Oh yeah, I remember that. The 3-man ult. Yeah, it was great.
스카너가 혹시 아셨나요?
And in game 3, did you know that Skarner was winless?
전패 카드였는데요. 이걸 선택해서 첫
He had a 0-win, 4-loss history so far, and you gave him his first win. So what are your thoughts on Skarner right now?
중에 좀 좋다고 생각해서 선픽으로 많이
I feel like he's one of the better champions to play within the tank jungle lineup. So, and you guys let the enemy take Gwen and took Fiora on the top side. So, did Clear try to convince the team?
그중에 피오라를 해보고 싶다고 해가지고
Yeah, honestly, he actually did say that he wanted to play Fiora because it just made most sense out of all the options that we had. And with your amazing performance, BNK FearX got their first victory, and your next opponent will be DRX. What is your resolution? DRX is also a dominant team, and I think we just have to keep ourselves on our toes and make sure that we win the next one as well. And that's the end of the interview with Raptor, and back to the space. Thank you.